Okay, I got a couple things here from some old iPhone repair kit things. You know, when you buy a screen, they give you like a little guitar pick. It's not a Gibson or anything, or a Fender. It's just a pretty shitty guitar pick, but it's really good for getting up underneath things. So we'll try it out a little bit. And then one of these little pry bar things. This one's pretty worn down. I probably could have grabbed a better one, but to be honest, like, this stuff is it's pretty thick, so I don't know if a smaller one would, or a sharper one would really make a big deal. But big deal difference. Let's just see, now that I've actually got it under here, if this helps pry it up any. It doesn't seem to so far. Alright, let's get out from under there, try this other side. No. 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 Okay. Yeah, these wheels are rather annoying. There's got to be something. Maybe it's the center part. It seems like the center part that's going to pry up. But I don't want to break it. I can't seem to find any way of getting it to pop off of there. Just about bent my fingernail backwards, it looks like. Working on that, but this might be a job for Google, because I really don't know how I'm supposed to get this apart and get over to this section with the cord, which seems to be stuck down in there. Actually, you know, a crazy thing that happens here in Japan is that I suppose it's not crazy, it kind of makes sense, but it's frustrating for people like myself who like to search the garbage for things that are reusable and not just recyclable, because homeless people will run around and they'll cut the cords off things. And something like this, for example, there's a motor here which is full of copper. They really should have taken the copper out of the motor. You know, just grab the whole thing and break it open and get the copper out of the motor. But I guess just because of convenience and ease of recovery, they often just cut the cords off of things and then recycle those cords and get the value of the copper that's in the cord. And so then people like myself who would like to perhaps repair and reuse something that has been thrown away prematurely, we're often stuck having to replace cords on things because the cords are just completely gone. And when I pressed this button earlier, I thought I saw something flapping around inside of there, but what it might have been flapping around inside is the end of that cord that had been cut off. So that's rather perturbing, I guess is an appropriate word. But there must be a way into this thing. I might just have to look it up on the internet, though, because I'm not finding it. This wheel really should be coming off. Not this one, but this one. And it does not want to come off for the life of me. Let's see. Oh boy! Well, that more or less did it. I was just about to mention.
Like an explosion.
Yes, it did.
Okay?
Yeah, it's fine. Nothing's broken. I could see these tabs down in there, and I was thinking, boy, if I could just reach down in there with maybe something and get those tabs to come loose, this thing might come off. Well, just a little bit of force, and those tabs came right off, and no, they did not break even a one of them. Your mileage may vary. I don't exactly recommend that you just go prying at the wheel until it pops off, but it looks like if you just pry at the wheel until it pops off, the wheel's going to pop off. So you've been warned, but you're welcome to try it out if you'd like. Maybe there's a way for you to remove those tabs. Let me show you those tabs again real quick. So this part of the wheel went down here, right? And as you can see, let me get my screwdriver out of the way. Let me make sure I got this in frame. Alright, so yes, as you can see, this part of the wheel just puts down over the top here. There's no bearings or anything. It rubs, and you can see that it rubs because the plastic is dusty with what looks like plastic, and it's scratched, and it's scratched around here as well. So it just rubs. That's not the best design. That's not what I would consider a Dyson price amount of quality there, but it works okay. But these are the tabs that are actually holding this entire wheel on, which are preventing you from getting at these screws. So if you can manage to get this middle cover off, I don't know how exactly. I think you just have to pry it, to be honest. As I'm looking at it and trying to figure out how you would get these tabs off without just prying on it, I don't think there's a way. You just got to pry that fucker off. Sorry. Let's get back to the task at hand. Alright. I guess that screws out of there. Didn't pop out, but it's hard to... There we go. A little hard to get this thing to line up sometimes. Alright, I want to try this one again one more time just because I feel like it might not have unscrewed all the way, but I think it has now. Alright, any others? These two. There's certainly one here, but I was wondering if perhaps it was just for electronics, but I'm guessing now that no, it's not. It's also holding plastic on, which makes sense since there's no seam in the area where you would expect there to be a seam if it were just holding on the plastic. So, alright, here we go. Now we're talking. Sorry for shaking the camera. How's this? We're gonna have to move it to the side, I think, maybe, which makes me think that this back part might have to come off. Oh no, wait, there's another screw over here. I see it now. It's on like the opposite side. Let's go ahead and, well, they don't all fall out. I got one out. But in this area here, if you can see that, there's another screw there. This one might be a little bit difficult to get at, but I maybe think we can do it. Yeah. Alright. They seem to all be the same size, so it shouldn't be a problem. However, I still have a bit of an issue with these buttons. These buttons might have to be pressed down. Wait, that button actually, the power button, feels like it doesn't even push, but maybe it's a momentary switch. Maybe it is pushing, and that's just as far as it goes. I mean, this button goes down a lot. Alright, let's see what we can get going here. I don't want that opening up on me right now. Ah, yes, look at that. The homeless strike again. But that also tells me that this is probably not the only problem with our vacuum cleaner here. If it was thrown away before the cord was cut, there might be more of a problem than just the cord being stuck down in there. So that's okay. We can probably still figure that out. But we're probably going to have to do a bit more work than just attaching a cord. Get this off. How's that? How does that go? Missing a screw somewhere. Not there. Maybe it needs to turn before we lift. That would kind of make sense given the placement of these buttons, but it doesn't seem to do it. No, I don't want to break it. It's already hear some cracking going on. I'm thinking this piece? No, that piece doesn't. I mean, it looks like it comes off, but it's not like the problem. There we go. I just need the right lifting, twisting force applied, I guess. There we go. All right. What does that sound? Oh, there's a screw. Alright, well, there's a screw. And it was one of these screws. Let's just go ahead and drop these screws back down into their holes so we know where they belong. Alright, so here's our steel spring, which makes this thing, you know, twist up and untwist and be all automatic-y with a push of a button kind of thing going on. This button, in fact. So that'll be something that we'll need to work with. This wire, the sheathing around it is cut, and it looks like it's probably cut just from its life inside of this spool. However, it also looks like it's not shorted or anything, so it's probably okay, but who knows, maybe the wires inside are broken and so it only gets momentary contact. This does look like it'll come off. Some rather large, stiff tabs here. Let's see if we can convince them. Yep, there's one. There's the other. There we go. There we go. Now we're talking. And here are our wiring, our wires for our AC in. I'm quite sure. Yeah. We're gonna need to replace this wire so that we can plug this thing in to even see what's going on to begin with. So maybe what we'll do, before we go any further, just replace the cord. I would like to replace it with something comparable to what it already is, but I don't know if it's going to be possible to find wire like this, but I think I might give it a shot. Actually, probably what I'll do first of all is just replace it with any old wire and see what happens. And then, if it works, we'll replace it with some proper wire. So I'm going to say, for now, we'll strip this. We'll get a bit of crappy wire, which I have lots of. We'll hook up to it. We'll plug it in. We'll see if it works. And then we'll decide what to do from there. So let me find some wire, get this stripped down. Well, I'll strip it down after we've started the video back up, but let me get some wire and a couple extra tools, and then we'll get to experimenting, see what's going on. But so far, that's what it looks like inside of a Dyson. I'm actually a little bit surprised that they have a little nice control board here. I guess that's to run the radio receiver on the control handle. There's another one just on the inside of this air duct, which is an interesting place to put it, but I guess it's probably alright. Anyways, maybe we'll get further into this, maybe we won't, but for now, let's take a break, find what else we need. And we are continuing where we left off on this Dyson vacuum cleaner, and I couldn't find a really good cord, and so I'm just going to use an old American PC power cable. And here in Japan we don't really have a ground wire. I can't give you a good reason as to why there's no ground wire. A lot of things need ground wires, and so what they usually have is, well, I can show you this real quick. They have like an extra wire dangling off of a tube prong. And why? You could just have an extra pin and then it would always be grounded. Even if it doesn't need to be grounded. I mean, most things need to be grounded. I don't get it. I really don't understand. And then there's never anything where you can connect this wire to. Like, once in a blue moon, you'll find a plug, like, only if it's used for, like, washing machines or something that needs to be grounded, like, seriously. There's water involved. Will you ever find a little thing where you can plug in the ground wire? Usually, there's nothing. So, it's a little frustrating living in Japan when you have things that need to be grounded, because you often can't ground them. So in this situation, we're just going to pull this pin off. I guess I should just go ahead and do it. You give it a little pressure and it just comes right off. And there's our ground. It's gone. Sorry, all you safety experts out there thinking, what the hell have you just done? I've made this plug so that now it works in Japan. That's what I've just done. And if you look on the inside here of our vacuum cleaner, there's no ground wire. So it's completely useless anyway. And I've got so many of these PC cables that it's not a big deal. So we'll cut the end off of this. And even though this is just a test run, and yes, we are somewhat wasting a nice wire on a test run, sorry. It's not exactly a waste. We'll use it again in the future for other things. It'll be fine. So, oops, did I cut through all of that? No, we're still safe. Okay. I really hate dealing with sheathing sometimes because it tends to cut away much more easily than what it really should, and then you end up cutting through the insulation on the inner wires, and then you have places where it could very easily short out, and it's a design flaw in my opinion. Come on, imagine that people are going to be modifying your stuff every now and then. The world is not set up to be repaired or for open source hardware, and it's a shame, really. Alright, these were the proper wire strippers, I believe, because they have the exact size for this. So this is a 2.0, which I guess is probably a 2 gauge wire. It just takes it off like a hot knife through butter. That's beautiful. Alright, I don't know which one of these is supposed to be negative and which one is supposed to be neutral, or rather hot and neutral, but neither do I think it really matters. So here we go. There's the sound of my soldering iron turning on. And I don't want to cut this wire just in case it becomes useful in the future, even though I have pulled out our ground wire connector there, because I'm thinking if this wire ever gets recycled in the future, I mean, you just use it for copper wiring, that ground wire, it's got such a nice soft insulation sheathing, and it's a rather robust wire. I would like to keep that wire for possible future use. We try to recycle and reuse things as much as possible here. This is a 10 amp wire. I'm pretty sure we're going to be alright here. It doesn't say on this short bit remaining what amp rating this wire was, but it does seem to be solid copper wire. That's nice. It's not copper plated steel or anything like these wires may or may not be. But anyways, here we go. Soldering iron's hot. Oh wait, I still need to free up my other end here. There we go. So when cutting some sheathing off of some wire, I found that if you don't cut all the way through, but you cut what you think is going to be most of the way through, you'll often find that you accidentally did cut all the way through. And when you haven't, you're going to be so far through it, and the remaining amount of sheathing so thin that it just peels away like a banana peel. So that's what I recommend doing, is just try to cut most of the way through, but not all the way through. And then when you do cut all the way through, you probably didn't cut through the insulation. And when you did cut, and when you didn't cut all the way through, then it peels away really easily. Oh yeah, I see. So finding a proper cord to replace this one might be a little bit difficult, because these cords that you have that experience tension, and it's not just vacuum cleaners. I know it's game controllers and other things as well. Anytime the cord gets pulled on, you're often going to find there's copper or nylon thread in here as well, as a type of a tension stress relief, so the pulling tension doesn't get put onto the wires. And so that's what we've found here as we've stripped away this sheathing. We have this, I think this is probably copper, I'm sorry, not copper, cotton. Cotton sheathing, stress relief in the sheathing. And we'll just cut that off. We're not too interested in right now, we're just doing a test. Use our stripper to get quick and easy strips done. Also 2.0, so that means we have the correct amperage wire, I believe, for doing this. Although when we compare them side by side, the vacuum cleaner wire looks slightly larger, but it's probably close enough to not matter. And we do know that the ground is the green and the yellow, and we don't know whether red or blue is positive or negative. Or in the case of AC like this, hot or neutral. I'm going to assume that blue, since it's closer to black than red, in my opinion, is probably the hot, and the neutral is red, even though it's the opposite of what it would be in DC. But I also find that that's often the case. When you're dealing with AC wires, you'll have a red wire and it's not the positive, which you would consider to be hot in AC. It is the neutral, weirdly enough. Maybe my experience is in garbage electronics, and that's very possible, but that is my experience. Alright, well, we got those two tinned. Let's go ahead and tin these as well, just so that our wires solder together a little more easily than what they would otherwise. Alright. We can see everything alright. It's my camera's up so high it's hard to constantly look. Okay, so here we go. White to red, probably okay. I mean, it's AC power. Who cares? Some people care. I know you do, but I think you people worry too much about things. I worry about playing on my own. I don't worry about this kind of stuff. It's not worth worrying about, since they basically have the same effect. I got warm. Alright, so before we plug this in though, I definitely would like to insulate it somehow, because that snaps together. Boy, what a interesting event that will be. Maybe we just stick this in between. No, I don't trust it to be enough. We need something better than that. Better than that. Alright, let me grab something real quick that we can use to insulate this.